Well, a warrior's not the one who always wins, but the one that always fights. That's exactly what's right here.
Yeah. Right.
I'm not winning right now.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it's fighting.
Keep fighting, man. Like,
and I'll get back to where I was or beyond, right? Like,
yeah.
Because I'm not giving up. Like. All right, everybody, it's episode number 6. I'm Shaun Campbell, and
I'm JP. What's up?
What's up? Yeah. So, hey, it's the end of 2022 already. Pretty crazy. So we're in December, so it's 2023 is coming up. So let's talk IDFA shows. I made a post on Instagram about the March 26th show that's coming up in Vaughan, Ontario. It's the Novice Classic.
It's going to be here before you know it, too.
Yeah, so that's the very first show of the year. So that's going to be exciting. So check that out on Instagram at IDFA Natural. But then when I put that up there, I've been getting a lot of response about coming back to BC and coming back to Calgary. So I guess Vancouver, BC, and Calgary, Alberta. So yeah, I haven't been there since the craziness that hit a few years back. Because it's kind of like going through a rebuilding phase right now. So it's a little bit risky for me to like jump on a flight and book a venue and all that kind of stuff to come out.
There's a lot to recover from, right? From these past couple of years, you know what I mean?
Like, just the Ontario shows alone are way different than they used to be. But I definitely feel like it's going upwards because especially December.
The vibe.
The energy and vibe by the time we got to December. The last show we just did. It's a big change from July.
Huge change.
Because the first show in July was kind of so it's going up. So I feel like 2023 is going to be the year. But it's the year of
rebuilding.
And the year of the question is, how soon do we come back to Calgary? How soon do we come back to Vancouver? And how soon do we come back to Montreal?
We just spoke about Montreal last time.
So I sent out a few emails to some venues. So I'm pretty comfortable because Montreal's not that far. So I'm pretty comfortable that October 2023 gives a lot of time to like promote it, get out there, and put on a good show. The ones that I'm a little bit hesitant, like I didn't really factor in for this year yet, were Calgary and Vancouver. But I've been getting messages.
And it's understandable too. Like if like it's something that you have to spend a little bit more thought process on, right? Because it's a bigger commitment, right? We're talking flights. We're talking about hotels, we're talking about venues, right? And that costs money, my friends.
So I guess we were, at first I was just saying, we'll see how that goes. And then JP sends me a message over, he says, have you thought about this idea? So I'll let JP run that by you guys, but he has an idea. I've sort of thought about that idea, but I've never really put it out there before because it's never been done before like this, but what's your idea, like, as far as, like, getting an early commitment kind of thing?
And I'm just kind of thinking, like, because rather than saying, like, okay, you know what, like, let's see how next year goes first, and hopefully things go well, and, like, things start kicking, and then maybe 2024, or, like, whatever. Instead of that, it's just like, okay, well, like, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, how can we try to, like, move this along, right? Because, like, like if BC, like if Vancouver is, something that one of the cities that's maybe ready to receive the IDFA back, and maybe Calgary's there too, right? But on the IDFA side of things, on the business end of things, because these past couple of years have been kind of a mofo, right? To go with that type of a commitment, right? Like there's an inherent risk, obviously, that's involved, right? Like from a business end, right? Because you commit all of this, flights, hotel, venue, the whole bit, and you don't necessarily know, because this industry as a whole, there's a lot of last minute registrations that basically come in. Right?
Or people that say they're going to compete that don't.
And no one does, or whatever.
So you don't know, but once like years ago, like prior to all the chaos, you had an idea just based on history of the shows.
Based on history.
But now history of the shows tell me that things are a lot different also.
Now things are like,
basically I can base it on anything. I just run a show.
Everything is just, kind of like hit a big, it's a whole restart of some sort, right? So one of the things I thought about, and this is just me, like just kind of talking like whatever, right? And I'm thinking to myself like, okay, well, what if right? Like much like, let's say if Justin Bieber was going to come in and have a concert or something like, whatever, right? He's not going to just necessarily show up.
He's come to the IDFA show?
Right? Imagine. He's not necessarily going to show up for a concert that he doesn't know that nobody's going to be there, right? So there's commitments, right? Like that end up happening ahead of time, right? Pre-sales, right? And so on that note, I'm thinking to myself, okay, what if, right? You guys can let us know what you guys think about this. What if, right? If we had, I mentioned to Shaun, like if he was to offer some sort of like an extra early type of early bird of some sort, right? Some sort of a registration where now he can end up getting an idea of how many athletes are potentially committed already, right? And behind the scenes, obviously, like you figure out like what number makes sense. Like if there's X number of athletes that are ready to compete in this, okay, you know what? It's going to happen, and it's going to happen sooner rather than later. I'm booking the venue, I'm booking the flight, and boom, boom, we're off to the races.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Right? Because then at least if like it might not be the exact number of, the total number of athletes or whatever that we're going to get. But if you have a core number that you can kind of depend on and say like, like we've got this many people already registered, yeah, this thing's a go. Right? And maybe that makes it more feasible to get back into some of these parts of Canada that maybe are ready, like I said, to receive the IDFA back, and we make it happen sooner rather than later. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's pretty scary times because so I'm down with it. So if you guys have any ideas or suggestions based on what you just heard from JP, myself, what would be a good plan of attack, I guess you'd say, for 2023, so we can be there sooner than later? Because I like the idea of sooner than later. I like the idea of maybe the fall we get back everywhere we used to be.
Yeah,
that'd be exciting.
Right. Vancouver was always a good market, right?
Especially Calgary.
Right?
Calgary at times was huge for the idea.
Yeah.
Vancouver's, some of the shows were great, some of the shows were all right, but it was always a good experience. I love going down Vancouver.
Yeah, right.
I'd love to go back down there. Maybe not now with all the snowstorms are happening.
Right.
But by fall, we
mentioned that too, right? Like with the Montreal shows, right? And it's like the Montreal shows are obviously a little bit different because it's a little bit closer to here, right? But like half the athletes at this last show were from Montreal.
Yeah, the Montreal area. They came from Quebec, so we had a good chunk of them, and they were all like saying they can't. Basically, they couldn't wait for us to come down there, so they came to us. But that's the beauty of being fairly close. It's not as big of a risk.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit trickier finding venues because even venues are a little bit different than they used to be prior to all the chaos, right? Because the venue I always used in Montreal, for example, ever since the 2020 fiasco, ever since then, they haven't been renting out to outside
events or anything.
Just all internal stuff like within the university.
Yeah.
So I reached out to them. We'll see what happens. Like maybe in 2023 that might be different. So hopefully we'll wait on that.
And I think I think ultimately too, like if the timeline is far enough like that, and
if we shoot for fall, so I shoot for spring, or even if we do get the venue and I get the response, now we're still in rush mode. I want to be like in promo mode for a while.
Yeah.
But from day one, like so ideally in 2023, or next few weeks, we start promoting it. We've got some ideas on what venues we're going to look at, what dates we're going to go with, and then we just start promoting it and I think some early bird.
Get some early bird commitment going, right? And I think that's part of like my thought process right now too, right? Is that even if the venue itself is TBA, you know what I mean, like to be announced, right? But if we already know, if athletes are in the area and they're hyped and pumped and they're ready to go on something like that, right? Like then they already know, you start planning ahead already. It's just like, oh, you know what? Like if it's gonna come in October, I'm definitely gonna be there, right? And if, like I said, if you have a core number of clients, a core number of competitors that are all ready to commit to that, right? Then it's a lot easier to say, okay, you know what? Here's the pool of competitors that are all ready to go. You know what? Like, okay, let's make that phone call to, this venue or that venue and, let's make it happen.
booking event.
Yeah. Guys, crazy as this idea
I
is,
don't know, we're talking out loud here. This is like, you're getting
just
behind the scenes.
Yeah, this is just kind of like, you know, like
what's
thinking
going on
out
in the
loud,
mind.
right? And as crazy as it might be, especially for this industry, because this is not the norm, right? Like, this is not the way that things normally will run, you know, in this competition world, right? But at the same time, like, how many times has it happened where we're sitting here trying to recover after, like, the world's been upside down? You know what I mean? Like,
In my lifetime, never.
this
That
is,
I know of.
it's kind of new,
adult
right?
lifetime, never.
And the key word over the past couple of years seems to be pivot, right? So how do we pivot in a way that, you know what, like, we can kind of help to fast track some of this comeback a little bit more, you know what I mean? Like, and get back out into some of these cities across Canada. Right?
Yeah, no, I want to get back out there. Yeah, I miss getting on the flight and going out to Calgary or going to Vancouver or taking the road trip to Montreal. These were exciting times.
Yeah.
But now I don't want it to be a scary experience. I don't want to have it all booked and then say, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I'm going out there and in my mind thinking, okay, I'm headed out to Calgary and I've already lost $5,000.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be the experience. I want to be like, all right, I'm going to Calgary, we're gonna have fun.
That's it.
Because the sad thing is, before all this stuff, I'd run events. I worried about the event being a success. I didn't have dollar figures in my head. Like, I didn't say, I have to have this before I go here and do that.
No.
But now I have to think that way, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Like, even for the Ontario shows, I'm thinking that way. I'm thinking dollars and cents. And that's what even frustrates me. Like, even talking to one of the venues about time frames and all that kind of stuff and the staffing and all this and that. So I'm trying to work out the budget to make it tighter and tighter to make it more economical for myself.
Yeah.
But before the shows were so big, I didn't even worry about it. Like, yeah, we'll see you there.
Yeah.
Like, because I knew that it wasn't a concern.
It wasn't a big deal.
It wasn't a big deal, but now all of a sudden it's a big deal about how many staff the venue's going to have working and what time their staff clocks out. Like, I'm worried about all these little things because now I'm nickel and diming shows to make it work.
Well, and I think
Not make it work, but just to make it.
I think in fairness too, like, that's something that, like, you know,
And that's frustrating.
it's frustrating, right? And especially for someone that, like, this is your full-time gig, right? And I don't think that too many others can really say that.
Well, that's true. Yeah, most of
what I
them.
mean? Like,
Yeah, so
They've got multiple different things going on, right?
So who's a smart one?
Okay.
At this point right now, they're the smart one.
They're the smart
Back
one.
then, I used to run like 14 shows across Canada. I ran every single one of them, right?
Yeah.
So we gotta get back to that.
Yeah.
That's what I did for a living. I can't run 14 shows across Canada if I had a job. Like, if that makes any sense.
Right.
This is a job.
Yeah.
If I had like a career job and then this is on the side.
Yeah.
With promoters and all that stuff.
And that's where I was going with that too, right? Is that, like, you know, like, especially like if this is something you're doing for a living, and the way that you make a living has not existed for a few years. You
Just
know what I mean?
imagine.
Like, so what do? You know what I mean? Like, and then subsequently now.
It was rough. When I look back, I'm like, how am I sitting here today? Some of the stuff I went through the last couple of years, I'm like, how am I even sitting here right now talking about this?
Right?
Because I sat home in some dark place.
You know what?
I shouldn't be laughing. I guess you laugh when it's over.
When it's over, yeah.
Period. I wasn't laughing. I was pretty stressful, right?
Yeah.
But I can't cry about it because everyone went through it in their own way, right?
But you know what?
Worse than me, better than me, whatever.
Yeah, and
yourself went through some crazy times.
Resiliency is a real thing, right? You know, like, we tap into that inner warrior, right? And
yeah, that's how we bring the segue of the warrior.
it becomes a whole thing, right?
That's where I create that warrior. I started getting that warrior mindset.
Yeah.
Because you have to. Like,
You push
one
through.
good thing about it, you guys may think it's crazy or not crazy. The workout warrior came from all of this.
Yeah.
If we didn't go through all this, there would be no workout warrior. There'd be no inner warrior.
Yeah.
This is a slow build. But if you want to support, but this workout warrior, I have a big vision for him. So I feel like, and I got the rocking sweater here.
That's it.
So what better way to, like, it's almost like when I'm having some days when you don't want to go to the gym or whatever, when I put this on, this sweater, it's gonna sound cheesy. It's almost like putting armor on. There's no way you put a workout warrior sweater on and you walk in the gym and you're not a workout warrior.
Yeah.
Or you can't put the sweater on and say I'm heading to the gym and then look at yourself in the eyes and look at the Workout Warrior and say you're not going to the gym, right? So it's almost like the mindset, you shift.
Yeah.
And you feel like everyone's eyes are on you when you're at the gym. Meanwhile, they're probably not.
Right.
But you got the Workout Warrior, you feel like everyone's looking at the sweater.
That's it.
And they're saying, what's this Workout Warrior?
It's got a whole glow.
Yeah, I feel like everyone sees it. I feel like they're judging me. But I need that pressure. It's the accountability, right?
And you know what? Like I think in all honesty too, right? Again, you know, some of the other stories that some of the stories that some of the athletes have also shared as well too, right? I think are a testament to this, right? And, like, you know, like based on your experiences and you know what spawned this, right? And even just some of my own experiences, I think realistically, the only way that any of us really tap into or really are able to even get to know, you know, like our own inner warriors is, you know, when we go through darker times. You know what I mean? Like something that has challenged us, and like, you know, like there's something, for whatever reason, like we don't see, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel sometimes, like, you know, like when we're in the moment, right? But like there's something in us that did not allow us to quit for whatever reason, as much as, you know, like at different points in time you may think of it, right? Like I know I have, right? And, you know, like all of a sudden, like, you know, like this thing awakens inside you, right? And it might be a slow build, like you just said, right? You know what I mean? Like, but all of a sudden, before you know it, you got this guy staring you back in the mirror. You know what I mean? Like, that's a huge motherfucking thing.
It's a huge motherfucker.
You know?
Yeah. So based on all that, they always say you to build something like, for greatness, you have to go through the worst times, right?
Yeah.
So I feel like great things are coming.
Yep.
You don't know exactly how they're coming, but I feel it. Like I feel the energy's coming.
There's a vibe.
Workout Warrior started making more and more sense to me.
Yeah.
IDFA show, especially for the last show, I feel the energy coming up.
Yeah.
I almost felt like it. I know it wasn't back to normal because I know what I'm used to seeing when I look out the audience and all stuff. It wasn't what I normally see, but I felt good.
Yeah.
Like I felt.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what, like even like, you know, like that early part of the show that, you know, like I ended up, you know, playing the host, right? Like as the Workout Warrior was doing his thing, you know, and to look out into the audience too, right? Like, you know, like to see the number of athletes on stage and to look out into the audience, and there's asses in the seats. You know what I mean? Like
That just goes to show you the IDFA, because that drives me nuts too. When people say, they'll message me, is this show happening? Is the IDFA still around? I'm like, motherfucker, yes. I don't want to swear, but shit, yes. It's almost like it hits my ego hard, right? It's like, oh my God, they think that the IDFA is fading away.
Yeah.
That stings.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what kind of vibe's out there right now, but I'll tell you right now, the IDFA ain't going nowhere.
Nope.
It's just a matter of how soon are we going back out to the other places, like Calgary, Vancouver, Montreal. Like, the sooner the better. Even Manitoba, you know what, I love going out to Manitoba. It's just the prairie country. Like, I remember I'd get to the airport, get out of the flight, and it would just be like a straight drive all the way there to the venue.
Oh, yeah.
It was just straight. Like, with no hills, but it's just like prairies, right?
Flat.
It's just flat.
Yeah.
But I like the drive.
Yeah.
Like, all the things you miss, when you can't have something, you want it back, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So I miss, even sometimes it was in Brandon, Manitoba, actually, when we went to the shows. I miss going to Brandon, Manitoba.
That's it.
Like, I even guess I saw some posts for the venue, WHMC or I forget what it's called, Western Manitoba Auditorium or something, right? Centennial Auditorium, I can't remember, WMCA. But like, I miss going out there.
Yeah.
That venue was beautiful. The vibe was great.
Yeah.
So I remember it'd be like, sometimes you have smaller shows, but you'd have a huge crowd.
Yeah.
Because it was just like the vibe was.
And you know what? I think like that's a thing to highlight too, right? Like, you know, because like for my involvement over the years with the IDFA, the biggest thing for me has always been like the vibe and the energy. You know what I mean? Like whether that's backstage, whether that's from the audience, you know what I mean? Like whether that's just even amongst the volunteers, like, you know, like whatever, right? Like it's that energy and that vibe that just keeps bringing me back. You know what I mean? Like it's a whole thing, right?
Yeah, and even like another thing, if you really want to support the IDFA in our, because I'm just based on this video, you're gonna find out that we are still expanding.
Oh yeah.
We're coming back. Like,
Yeah.
we're not just sitting back and slowly fading away.
No.
No, I'm coming back strong, back into those other areas. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of what's the right timing, how should we do it.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, there are online shows.
Yep.
And we have had athletes from Alberta, BC, Manitoba, even the States, Italy, compete in the online shows. So you can still support and be a part of the IDFA by competing in the online shows. I know they sound a little bit crazy, but check out YouTube. Check out, you find it on the idfa.ca website, the links to YouTube and all that stuff. Go check out one of the online videos.
Yeah.
They're not as crazy as you think.
Yeah.
Like, we've had people like, because I've reached out, like, basically, yes, the other areas we're eventually going to be to, but when am I going to be to Italy? Maybe in the future. But right now, I had a team of 13 people from Italy compete in the last online show.
Yeah.
Just to give you an idea, like, the reach is still there. So there's still things happening with IDFA, you guys just don't know about it. The online shows during this crazy time, in 2020 to 2022,
Yeah.
in there, we had a few really solid online shows where it took me a week of editing just to make the videos. That's how much, we had like 50 competitors in an online show. Just imagine that, editing a video with 50 competitors and videos and posing routines. Whew, it was a lot
And that's
of
the thing, even in person, right? Like
I appreciate that support big time.
absolutely, right? Like, you know, like in
Maybe even like, sorry,
Yeah.
'cause I'll say I was going through some dark places. When that, I need it more than ever. This is like, I don't want to get emotional shit here. I need it more than ever.
this is real.
This
is
one
real.
show where 50 people registered for an online show where people said I was freaking nuts, and I had zero money coming in because I had no money coming in from anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm having people, well, my whatever. I sold my house, whatever. All kind of shit fucking went down.
Yeah.
And I had people at the entry just kept coming in. And I had like 50 people. It was overwhelming to see that many for an online show. But it's like, that's my first feeling of I still have, the IDFA is still alive, right?
Yeah.
So anyone who competed in any of these online shows, even if people thought you were crazy, thought I was crazy, and because I know some people 100% do not support it, and some people 100% support the online shows. I know it's reached their own, but just so you know, it was a huge, huge support to the IDFA and myself.
Yeah.
Myself personally.
Yeah.
So,
And that's a huge thing too, right? Like, you know, because especially like, you know, at a time where, like, you know, like I said, the world's upside down, right? You know, the online shows are not a normal thing. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, for you to end up, you know, going out on a
oh,
limb.
fuck, I went out, you go look on YouTube anywhere,
Yeah.
call it crazy or fuck it not, right? Whatever you want to think of the online shows,
Yeah.
and watch one of the damn videos I put together. Anyone, pick any online show and watch the video. You'll be pleasantly surprised on how good these online shows look on video, right?
I'm not just saying this because, you know, like I'm here with the IDFA and the Workout Warrior and the whole bit.
Right, talking
But-
about online shows, people say, this is bullshit. But then when they watch the video, they're like, what the
When I watched that first video,
you did this?
I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit, you know, like, because it's like,
That's why it takes hours and hours and hours
it
and hours
was
to
the
make
next
this
best thing to actually having a live in-person show. And especially I was thinking to myself, like, you know what, if I was one of the athletes competing right now, because it was not an option. It's not like you can say like, oh, I'd just rather go to the live show. No, it wasn't an option at that point, right? So, you know, like when you see like, you know, the way that everything came together, you know, like I'm thinking to myself, like, fuck, if I was an athlete competing right now at this point, like,
Oh yeah,
this feels like a real show, like a whole show. You know?
I laid out exactly how I wanted to show. I had the intros, I had to come out do the posing routine,
Yeah.
I had them. Don't ask me that. This vision came to me.
Yeah.
It sounded crazy to me, but
Yeah.
fuck, man, I was like obsessed with making this happen.
That's it.
But yeah, so when I.
The time and energy that it takes to even like, you know, to be able to put that together, right? Because that's a lot of editing, right? Like,
Yeah, what I was gonna say is I didn't even let the athletes know the placings, right? So they had to literally watch the video.
Yeah.
That's why they had to wait and wait. I'm like, oh my god, I got this video out. But you have to wait because I have to edit this whole thing.
Yeah.
And if I told you the results in an email, it's like, oh, you got third place. What the fuck?
It's not the
There's
same.
no anticipation there. You actually could sit there because people even said that we're in the online show. They actually got their family around the computer.
You're waiting for the results.
And they watched the video, and you get to see who's in your division, you get to see
No
their
shit.
posing.
Yeah.
And then I would announce it like we're in a show. And in third place we have, and I even got to create a freaking podium.
Yeah.
Which I can't do. I guess I could do a live, but it would be a lot of extra effort.
Yeah.
And then shipping it around wouldn't work. But I create a podium and I put you on third, second, first. Yeah. And I sent real awards, so the exact medals you would get at the show, I shipped to you. And these sweaters like this with the IDFA logo on, I shipped to people. So they basically got as close as you can get to the experience.
Yeah.
But with a totally different experience.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe let's go in the history books of saying, you were one of the only ones who ever did this. Say, remember that time? We'll sit here, shit, JP. We were gray hair, shit. Yeah. Shit, JP, remember that time when they did those online shows and people thought it was freaking crazy? Because I'm not, the crazier part is, I'm not stopping the online shows.
Yeah.
I think there's still something there.
I think there's still something there for sure.
There's it's bigger than, it's bigger than you think. There's something there. No one's doing it.
Yeah. Because even like, you know, like if you, like,
Team Italy, 13 people
Yes.
never even heard of the IDFA if I didn't do it on my show.
Yeah.
Because I can't say, hey, get into flights and commit thousands of dollars to come do my show.
Yeah. And even, you know, like even once the Vancouver shows get going again, once the Calgary shows get going again or whatever, right? Like, you know, like realistically, like, you know, like if the shows are happening all over the place, right? How many times are you actually in Vancouver? How many times are you actually?
Well, here's another thing. I go to Vancouver and I'll call it, or whatever, call whatever show you want. I can call it the World Championships.
Yeah.
But if I'm in Vancouver, you know who's competing in the Vancouver shows?
Only Vancouver.
Only Vancouver people.
Yeah.
I go to Alberta, we say we got the Canadian Championships. You know who's competing in the Alberta shows? Alberta people, maybe a few BC people drive over.
Yeah.
That's just reality. Even in the Ontario shows, I call it a big name. I'll go to Ontario, maybe some Quebec that's within driving distance.
Yes.
And you get the odd person who'll travel in. But
one or two.
But with online, I could have everyone in every province represented, and that's what we did. That's why I had that huge show. It was all coming together. It was better than I expected, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to continue doing them. So if you want to truly compete against people, it's a different format. It's not quite the same. I know. But you don't have to, it's just a different experience.
It's a different experience.
And it also helps support natural bodybuilding, the IDFA, competing, just what this whole community is supposed to be all fun.
What it represents,
What the community represents and having fun.
Yeah.
Like it's still fun.
Yeah.
When you're sitting in that video, and accountability and having goals.
Yeah.
When you don't think that, and creativity.
Yeah.
Like these people, some of these guys, oh my God. One guy actually was in his living room doing the posing, and he had his mom calling the quarter turns.
Oh shit.
And he had a big drape covering the window so light didn't come in.
Nice.
So he's standing there like basically in front of the TV. His mom's, you can hear in the background, quarter turn to the right.
Nice.
He's doing his posing. You got that. Then you got the other guys that they're in the studio space like this, and they put their logo in the background. They do their posing here. And then you got other people in their garages. You got people in their basement.
Yeah.
It's just fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like it was so cool. I don't know. Watch the online videos.
Yeah.
Go to my YouTube channel.
You gotta watch it, and then you'll get a good appreciation.
And if you watch it and you think it's the stupidest bullshit you've ever seen, comment below.
Right.
But that's fine, because that means we're onto something.
That's it.
If it offends you, if it's such bullshit that if you feel like you have to comment, it's got some kind of reaction out of you.
There you go. Right.
Or if you loved it,
there you go. Information.
Yeah. So especially for the transformation challenge, these online shows are amazing. Because we had people for the online transformation, they could like literally send a video of them telling their story.
Yeah.
So they would literally tell their story on video, send it to me, send me their before pictures, and then on the day of the show, like say it's December 15th, they take their photos, holding like a sign that says Warrior or something, whatever I tell them the sign's gonna be. So we know that those pictures were taken on that day. So that's how we validate it. So they take the pictures and that's their after. Mm-hmm. So it's cool, man, especially for the transformation and even for the rest.
I have another idea that's coming
shit,
up my
I
way.
like this. Let's put JP on camera. What do you got?
Oh shit.
What do we got?
No pressure.
No pressure. No pressure.
I like this idea of the video
Yep.
with the individual telling their own story.
That's because you're the experience of reading stories. You don't want to do it again.
I did like it before, right? Yes, I read the stories. Like, you know,
We'll take it off. That's just
show.
weird because I'm actually here too. No pressure.
But yeah, I mean, like, you know what? Like,
Let's
so
go. Keep talking.
The main thing that I would say with that is that whether you're reading it, and obviously you've been doing it for years, or whether I'm reading it and I just did it this last time,
Yep.
we are not them, right? We are not the athlete. We are not the one that went through that. We are not the one that experienced whatever it is that they experienced.
No, that's
To
right.
be able to speak in their own voice, to be able to see their face as they tell their own story. You know what I mean? Like, and for them to be able to talk
That's
about
actually a
that
good idea, 'cause that might
directly to the audience.
That might be something we even for the live shows have them like have the option if they want to send in their video. 'Cause some
Yeah.
people don't even. Some people like, you will get the odd person who doesn't want to tell their story
And that's fine,
because they're
that's
not
fair.
comfortable with that. So
Yeah.
I did. So even with the online shows, there are times where I read the story myself because some people weren't comfortable with that.
If
I
that's
said,
a
if you're not
preference,
comfortable with
cool.
that, I will read it.
Yeah.
And same with like. But typically for the live shows, we always read it because that's how we've always done it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I even thought about that, but I didn't want to like put all this pressure bills because it was like last minute. I was like going, oh yeah, maybe we could put the videos up, but I didn't want to put all this stress on last minute.
Yeah.
Maybe for the future shows, I'll tell people, hey, if you want to tell your story on video as opposed to us reading it,
Yeah.
submit it to us,
Yeah.
and we put you on the big screen.
And you know what? Like it can be something just as simple as like, you know, like them after they've written the story, the same story that they would have emailed you or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You know, like instead of like, I mean, they can just sit there reading their own story like on.
Why am I having such a hard time with this camera? Like I can't get myself in here.
Still trying to out angle me. That's what it is.
Yeah, like oh, it looks small there. Let's move that. Because every time it's kind of like if you like even if you go to competitions, like say even like
I
the
can sit like this.
like yeah, bodybuilders are on stage. They'll go to hit front double bicep. One guy will step forward a bit. Oh shit! That's what I do. JP, when JP's not paying attention, I just sort of slam my chair.
A little closer each time.
You're thinking, oh shit, Shaun! I didn't know Shaun was that much.
Sean's like
bigger than
6'7" or something over here.
JP. God
Damn.
Oh my
Right?
gosh.
But yeah, I think like, you know, even if the athlete is just going to simply read their own story, right? Like versus like, you know, just kind of like blurting everything out, right? But I think it would just do the story more justice.
Yeah, it makes it's a personal touch for
It's
sure.
a personal touch, yeah.
No, I think it would.
It's a personal experience a lot of times.
Yeah, and I think even the audience would really appreciate if they, especially if they're live and you're not expecting all of a sudden on the video comes up, poof,
Yeah.
and there's John Smith telling his story.
Yeah.
And then, as moving it as is JP telling a story, you know how moving it is when people like are telling their story and you're in the audience and you feeling this person.
You're seeing them, yeah. Because that's the thing.
We're gonna get
because-
some people like crying in the audience. There's been times during the transformation challenge where I'm reading the story because some of these stories are
They're bananas.
crazy bad.
Yeah.
I get emotional because I've had sometimes like in the past we've had like hosts like I've had one time I had a woman host and she was like it's not funny I'm not laughing because it's funny but she's like was crying through every story, right? So it was really hard on her reading all these stories because some of them like some of the stories are more tame and it's just about weight loss and stuff but some of them get really into like abuse and mental abuse and physical abuse. It's pretty wild, right? So it's pretty emotional. Or you'll have someone talking about like I'm doing this for my kids because I'm a dad and they relate to their daughter. Then now he's got a personal touch on me. I'm reading this. Even just saying I got goosebumps.
Yeah.
Or JP reading a story and I mean some guys like he's relating to that person. That's where the transformation where I always say it every show and I say it every online show. I say it every time. They're all winners.
Yeah.
There's no winning or losing in the transformation challenge because every story moves someone differently.
So the transformations cut off there a bit.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. We ran out of space on the thing. We talked too much.
Talk too much.
I sat down here and I didn't know what to talk about. I said, okay, JP, I'm just going to sit down and say, we got some shows coming in 2023 and see where this leads. That's it. That's the beauty of these things. That's why it's more natural feeling because they truly are not rehearsed. I don't say, JP, make sure you say this. JP, don't say that.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't say, hey, Shaun, make sure you ask me this question.
Yeah, right.
We just go with the flow here.
That's it.
And the funny thing is, there's about an hour of talking before these videos that we don't even put on here.
We were actually just saying, like, you know what, like, you know, like all of the pre-talk before, like, you know, we actually get on camera. It's just like,
That's
you know what,
funny
like,
stuff.
We should probably turn the camera on much sooner than we normally do, because a lot of that stuff is just like off the cuff, like shit gets crazy, right? Like, you know, like the energy's all over the place, it's all hyped up and like, you know, whatever, right? And then there's definitely times like, you know, like where like once the camera turns on and
Or it's real talk too. It's not like
it's not, yeah,
it's
like,
not all good. It's not all positive. It's not,
right? Yeah, it's true though, right? You know what I mean? Like
it's real
like,
shit.
It's real shit, right?
It's
Like,
kind of like today we're talking a little bit of real shit about the IDFA. We
influence. You know what I mean? Like, and you know, like I was gonna say, like, you know, like I like the vibe of today's episode, because it's not just hyping up, it's not just promotion, it's not just whatever. It's, you know, like talking about some real shit too. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, you know, there's real people involved. You know, like in this process, right? Like, you know, like it's a real thing.
I'm not just a fucking Instagram account,
right?
That's what I was going to say to JP. I say, sitting here right now and talking about the shows out loud and talking about the transformation and why I like the shows and all stuff, makes me fall back in love with why I even started the IDFA in the first place. Because when I'm just sitting here on my computer and I'm typing things, I'm looking how many people like my things, what kind of comments am I getting, did there are people looking at my posts, it's not real. It doesn't feel real, right?
Yeah.
Especially when I'm talking, you're just like, I'm texting, I'm typing, I'm putting pictures up for IDFA, I'm putting a poster up, I'm making a reel, or whatever I'm doing, right? It doesn't feel real, but when I sit here and talk about it and express it, it feels real. It feels like, this is why I do it.
Yeah.
Good or bad, there's gonna be some bad times. I'm going through well, not bad times, but the high points and low points, I guess.
Yeah, right. Like ebbs and flows.
Times personally, sure.
Ebbs and flows and stuff, right? Like, but like, yeah, like, I mean, I think like, you know, like when you start to kind of realize some of the impact that, you know, of what you're doing and the impact that it's having on other people, right? Like, you know, like I think there's definitely, I know for me, like there's a tremendous amount of value and you know, like I'm at a loss for words right now, like with what I'm saying, but like the value that presents, you know, like it really hits home. You know what I mean? Like, does that make? I don't know if that makes sense. Right?
Sure. Yeah. If you watch the video, this will all make sense.
There you go. Right?
If they make it this far,
it means a lot. Right? Like it means a lot. Like, you know, when you start noticing that, you know, like your efforts are not going unnoticed.
Yeah.
Right?
There you go.
There you go.
Well said. Or not well said, because
stumbled. Took me 20 minutes to say like one line.
What was the line again? Your efforts are being noticed.
Yeah, like that your efforts are being noticed. I think that's a real good feeling.
Yeah, you want to feel appreciated, right, or whatever.
Yeah.
Because people think, oh yeah, Shaun, the online shows are a bunch of crap. Yeah, but I did everything in my power to make a show.
Yeah.
I didn't just give up. I could have said, fuck it.
Right.
I'll wait till the venues open up and just fucking call it a night. Like, just close up shop. Like, and that's what I could have did, but for some reason I was fighting. I was being a warrior, and that's when even started. I started thinking about. This is where I started thinking about the warrior. I never thought about the warrior.
Yeah.
This came to me later, but I gravitated, like in the last video I was talking about. I started gravitating towards like warrior quotes and all that kind of stuff. Your inner warrior, be a warrior.
Yeah.
Don't give up, all that kind of stuff, right? And then that's where it all came from.
Yeah.
So that's why the Warrior Room's here. This Warrior Room is all about this.
That's it.
And what they say, what I just posted, shit. I shouldn't be saying what I just posted and not know it. But something about a warrior's not the one who always wins, but the one that always fights. That's exactly what's fucking going on right here.
Yeah. Right?
I'm not winning right now.
Yeah.
But I'm sure as fuck fighting.
Keep fighting, man. Like,
and I'll get back to where I was or beyond, right? Like,
because
I'm not giving up. Like,
no, exactly, right? And I think that's the thing. Is like, you know, like at the end of the day, you know, like I think it's good for people to, you know, maybe take a peek behind the scenes a little bit, right? And be able to see that, you know what, like it's not just a business. It's not just about numbers. It's not just whatever, right? Like there's like, you know, there's real people behind this, like I said, you know what I mean? Like, and you know, like there's real emotion that goes along with that too, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like Like there's a passion that creates all of this type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like that comes from, like it comes from a negative experience, but it turns into something that's going to be a positive. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this workout warrior, that's my workout warrior basically, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to inspire people with a workout warrior to get your inner workout warrior going, right? So, because health and fitness is very important. And then another thing I was even thinking about, now I'm going on a tangent. I was just thinking of what do I do for a living? How do I affect the world? All this kind of thing. So one thing I'm really proud of is that I promote bodybuilding, but I promote it drug-free because this is this pretty scary world, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm not nothing against all these people, but I don't want to promote to families and kids and the world not drug-free sport, right? Like, if there's two options, you either do it drug-free, or you don't, right? I've chosen to be a role model. You have to promote that because even these guys who are fake natties and stuff, why don't they say they're on drugs? Because they know it's not the right message. It's not the right message, right? So I could not promote.
Yeah.
If it wasn't drug free.
I think it's
you promote what you believe in, right?
It's a different option. Yeah, you promote what you believe in, right?
And I like you say it's different options because 100% you're an adult, do what the hell you want.
Yeah.
It's your body, it's your choice. But to promote as a lifestyle, that's a fucking different ball game, right? Because now we're talking to teenagers and this and that. Yeah.
And you know what? Like that's the thing. It's at the end of the day, I don't think that.
Because that's why we get a different type of person at this IDFA show, right?
Yes.
We get a different type of person. Yeah, we might not be the craziest of athletes. Well, some are pretty damn impressive.
Some are pretty,
but we're the real people, real role models, right? Most of these people have families, kids, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
They're role models.
Yeah.
They're Superman.
Yeah.
I just got goosebumps right there. Because right now, I got two daughters, but one's 6, right? Right now, I'm still her Superman, right? Eventually, I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
Eventually, I'll be like, don't. Like, I'm already noticing it already, right? I'm not her Superman anymore. I'm like, you're embarrassing me.
Yeah.
Like, you're 6. How am I embarrassing you? But sure. But yeah, so but to your kids, you're like the Superman.
Yeah.
But, now I'm really going on a tangent because I watch a lot of YouTube, right?
Do it.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Like someone just say, I can't remember where it was, but it's also like there's value in showing that you're vulnerable. Because if you act like you're perfect, you're Superman, nothing goes wrong in your life,
it's not real.
You're quite the fucking, you're setting a quite the bar for your kids, right? They're looking up, no matter what I do, I'm a piece of shit because look at my dad, he's perfect.
How could I not be perfect?
Okay, let's watch dad go through some bullshit.
Yeah.
Or mom, dad, right, your parents. Let's see them go through some bullshit and see them come out of it.
Right.
Like we're all gonna have our low points.
Yeah.
But how do we come out of this?
Exactly. Yeah.
That's what teaches your kids a lesson, right? That's a role model.
And both of those comments are true, right? Because
I'm just going. I don't even remember what I said.
You know what? To be in those low points.
Yeah.
Right. That's valid. Those are real emotions. Feel them.
Yeah.
Right? But the ultimate takeaway, I think, would just be not to stay there.
Exactly.
Right? And then, at some point, because even speaking from my own experiences, right? At some point, we got to start thinking to ourselves, like, okay, you know what? How do we pull ourselves out? Right? What's the next step? Right? And initially, the next step might not necessarily look like, the representation of whatever our inner warrior comes to, right? But it's baby steps, right? Moving in a more positive direction. What is the next step? Not 100 steps ahead, but just what's the next step, right? And let me try to pull myself out. And I think those are really important skills, especially to be able to teach our kids, right? And to be able to be an example for the kids. So that they can see, hey, you know what? When shit hits the fan, right? Hey, you know what? Dad's basically been through a number of things, and
and we're human too.
It's life, and it's human, and it's whatever, right? And yeah, we might be upset about it, or we might be sad about it at different points in time. But then here's how we overcome some of that, right? and learning how to be resilient.
Yeah, so it's good. It's good that that's where positivity comes out of this stuff, right? Because what do they say? What was that? The Rocky say it's not always going to be.
It's not always sunshine and rainbows.
Yeah, didn't he say some kind of speech like that? It's not always sunshine and rainbows.
Probably.
Rocky. It is not always sunshine and rainbows, but typically.
No sunshine.
But back when I was a kid, that was the time when and I was even raised this way. We don't show weakness, right?
Yeah.
And that's bad too.
That's
called you keep it all in and then you just freaking explode.
And as men, that's a huge thing.
Oh yeah, because even like I've been in. There's probably a lot of people that during the 2020, all this chaos is going on. I was probably acting like everything was cool. Mm-hmm. And meanwhile, I'd be sitting by myself in the backyard when I had a backyard. Sorry, that's
the reality.
That's to tell you the reality of it all. When I had a backyard, I was sitting in the backyard by myself. I was going through some low shit.
Yeah.
I just got myself out of it.
I think part of the scary thing too, like if I even just think of from my own perspective, right, is that one, as a man, right, because that's not something that is normally, like traditionally, like something that is overly encouraged, right? To be able to, what do you mean you're showing any kind of weakness, right? Like it's like, oh shit. And then the other part of it also being as a business owner.
Yes, and your business is going under, then people don't support you because you see, that's not, well, definitely in business you can't show weakness, right? So you can't, because then people say, oh my God, the IDFA's closing down. What the hell?
Yeah.
I swear, I was just talking to Shaun, and the way he was talking, it's over.
Yeah.
It's over. Like you can't say anything.
People can take your, people can like misunderstand the message, right? And make it more than what it is, right? Like we all have low points. We all have shit.
Yeah, sometimes to me I got to vent, but the problem is who you vent to.
Who you vent to. That's
because
important.
if you pick the wrong person to vent to, now all of a sudden you're showing weakness. There's nothing wrong with showing weakness, but if you show weakness to the wrong person, they will use that again. It's sad and scary, but you can be in a relationship with someone and vent and show weakness. Yeah. And because you made on the strong relationship you thought, now they're using this against you, right? Yeah. It's like I try to because what I'm showing you in that time of weakness isn't who I am. That's who I feel at this moment. I'm gonna rise back up.
Exactly.
But don't use that against someone, right?
No, exactly,
Or whatever.
Yeah, I mean,
where the hell are we going with this?
It's a peek behind the curtains, right?
This is getting crazy. I don't even know. Because we're going on such tangents, there's no end.
There's no end.
So how do we wrap this up? Or we don't? Okay, if you got something left to say, go.
I think the way that we come back, to
how do we reel this all back in?
Right?
What were we talking about? Shows in 2020? We were just talking about, let's go back to Alberta.
We just got, and this is what I was
saying. We end up here, me having episodes in my backyard. Pity parties in my backyard.
I think the theme and the message as a whole is like, like the what's that saying? Like the comeback is always stronger or something like that. What's that saying?
Oh fuck, I know it too. But there's nothing like a comeback.
Message. There's nothing like a comeback. You know what I mean? Like,
you know what? There's nothing like a comeback.
Yeah.
And probably the reason why we're willing to voice the low points because we know we're going past it. If I was still in the low point, it wouldn't be a good idea to be on video.
It's a lot harder to talk about.
Yeah. So once you get past it, it's easy to talk about because now we're on the trajectory up, right? Yeah. So it's all positive from here. It's like I'm like telling you the low point so you can see where I'm headed.
Yeah.
For the extremes, right? Yeah. But when you're in that low point,
you can't really see too far ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Like you're living exclusively in the moment, not in a good way, right?
Yeah, and during this last few years, it was scary being in a low point where you felt like you had no control. Like they were telling you, put on a mask, go to the you can't come to the venue. Then I booked the venue. Oh, we're gonna have events again. Oh, Shaun, shit. 2 days before, no, we can't have events. Oh shit. Yeah, maybe we can have 10 people in there. Oh no, we can't. Okay, no, the venue's closed.
Yeah.
Okay, that all happened within this happened within 13 days. I started monitoring it 13 days before the IDFA Universe 2020, when they're first gonna have an event. It started from, okay, we can have people in there, a certain amount of people, but we have to come in and out, blah, blah, blah. We have to, this, that, and the other. Everyone has to wear masks on stage everywhere, blah, blah. Then it came down. By the time it got to about a couple days before the show, it was, Shaun, no, you can't have anyone in here. The venue is completely closed. We can have one person on stage. So if you want to do an online presentation, so I can only have like 2 people on the stage and no one in the audience. Like, so basically, it was a no-go.
Yeah.
That's when the first online show began.
So why are you even paying the venue?
Yeah.
So, right,
Oh yeah, so no, we didn't. I didn't book it obviously, but
Yeah.
it was just like that's how crazy it was getting when everyone was trying so hard to keep the shows alive, right?
Yeah.
And not keep the shows alive, keep business alive.
Yeah.
And get some business happening.
Yeah.
It was wild.
Yep. I think I mean at the end of the day it's like, you know what, like shit happens. You know what I mean? Like it's what we do with that shit. What's the next step? Like, you know what I mean? Like right now the next step is like, let's see how we can make this Vancouver show happen, Calgary show happen, Montreal's coming back, right? You know,
and build up the brand, the Workout Warrior, support the IDFA, Workout Warrior, all that kind of stuff. This is all positive stuff here, where this is all just, like health and fitness.
How do we support the IDFA and the Workout Warrior?
How?
Yeah.
Well, shit. We got merchandise. It sounds cheesy, but and I don't really like pushing it because I feel like I'm on these YouTube channels that's pushing the merchandise. What they call it, merch.
Merch.
So we got merch. Yeah, you go to the Workout Warrior, official workoutwarrior.com, and I've got like, I sell Workout Warrior clothing, t-shirts, hats, and I sell IDFA stuff there. So yeah, support that way. Enter online shows. If you can't make it to the show, enter the online shows. They may sound crazy, but I guarantee you'll be happy you did it.
Yeah.
Because they still give you a goal, they still give you accountability, and they still give you something to, like a goal to strive for.
Yeah. If you haven't checked out one of those YouTube videos, check them out.
Yeah, check out the YouTube videos. Enter a live show, IDFA.
Yeah.
Register early for these shows so I get an idea of what kind of numbers are happening. Because these shows are all happening. All the venues are booked already for Ontario.
Yeah.
Like I've had put down the deposits, everything. They're paid for, booked. They're solid.
That's it.
So the entry forms are up. So enter those. Spread the word about it.
Let's get some early birds going on these other cities and let's make this shit happen.
Yeah. If accountability is a real big issue, the Workout Warrior is all about accountability. Like
You'll come kick your ass.
Let's go! I set up an online training. I do a little bit of online training here, so approach me about that. But it's more about you do it on your own. I'll set up the programs and help you with that. Basically help you get your own inner Workout Warrior in gear.
That's it.
If Majestic Strength wants to give a little promo about his business here, yeah, I put you on the spot. Is there a real promo, or is it more about just come check it out, check out the site, come set up a consultation?
You know what? It's
how do you promote yourself that way? Because IDFA is like, enter the show.
That's it. New Year's resolution is
New Year's resolutions.
What? Like this is like 10 days away for the end of the year. You know, like that's blowing my mind already as it stands right there, right? But New Year's resolutions coming up fast and furious, and you know, like the number of different semi-private options that I've got going now. You know, like.
And where can they find out all the information about Majestic Strength?
MajesticStrength.com. Give me a follow on Instagram at Majestic Strength, right? And
I'll put it up along here.
That's it, right? Like, you know, and yeah, you know, like if you're, I'm in the Woodbridge area. So, you know, like if you're in and around Vaughan, right, like then holla at me and let's rock and roll.
Well, there you go.
That's it.
So let's call us a wrap. I guess next time we come back on here, it'll be past Christmas. Like we're a few days from Christmas right now.
That's it.
Shit.
Oh yeah.
So I put this out every week.
I'm still in September. Like I don't even know what's going on right now.
And the funny thing is about January, because every time you haven't really had to get to promote January like you used to, right? Because you were saying during this whole pandemic stuff, January, there's no such thing as a January rush.
Nope.
In the fitness industry, January used to be like JP was saying, that was like, holy smokes, it's guaranteed, it's gonna be busy as all hell.
That could set up your whole year.
Yeah, and then basically the last few Januaries, they've been like
nothing. Last year, January, I think we were locked down again.
Oh shit. Right? So there you go.
You know, like all hyped up for like, okay, yeah, you know, because like 2021, no, 2020? Man, I'm all over the map.
In 2020, then it turned to 2021. That was a lockdown for sure, because that's when December showed like they got shut down. So that January was for sure a write-off. But how about Yeah. When do things open up? Because I didn't run my first live
I
show.
have no idea what the
until
hell's
July.
going on.
It almost feels
Basically-
like it didn't happen, and
Yeah.
let's pretend it didn't.
Yeah.
Because that was a lot of
Was it
bullshit.
this year January that we locked down? I think it was this year January because I feel like with some of the stuff
Because I didn't
that we
run
were
any
doing-
shows because even shows were tough to run.
Yeah, because I feel like some of the stuff that we did here at the studio, right? We got all this vibe going on and whatever, like last year
Came to a
fall.
halt.
That was last year in the fall.
Yeah.
And like I thought like, okay, you know what, like we're getting back on track here, like, you know, we're rock and roll, right? Like I got my treadmill, I got like a bunch of different things.
That was that.
Right? And it's like, okay, you know, like 2022, here we go, right? And then we start like lockdown in January. Right?
This is scary stuff, man.
Yeah.
This. I'm trying to erase this from my mind. The last 2 years didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
But unfortunately, all the consequences that came
The
with it.
consequences we're still dealing with.
So I'm still dealing with all that, but I really like to.
But you know what? Upwards and onwards, my friend. Like this is it. You know, we're
You can't take this from me, right?
No.
Whatever's in
no.
I'm not at what. Let's not get into the matrix.
2023.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a whole
2023. Let's
Let's go.